let's bring on our good friend here on every Tuesday. We talk to Dave Mason from betonline.ag. Dave, welcome into the show.
Thanks. We're going to have to start offering some over-unders on your subscriptions over there, man. Every time you have me on there, it's a lot
it's all
more.
You. It's not us.
Oh, yeah, get the hell out of here. Okay, so yeah, right. Anyways, no, all good here, man. Busy as hell, but exciting and fun week here. It's BetOnline.
No, it should be. And I know you're probably busy can be. And the one thing we always love about betonline.ag, which we get to in just a few moments here, there's no better source on the internet for prop bets than BetOnline. That's just not something like, hey, Dave's on the show, say something nice. That's an actual true factor, because I was looking over those today, and I have quite a few of those picked out, which normally, Kyle, we'll see, like, let's say, over under on passing yards, or which running back is going to have the most running yards. You have so many props and what I call the fun props here that if you do some legwork, you can actually get an edge. But half the time you read, it's like, who would even bet this? A lot of people would actually bet that stuff. But let's get to it real quick here, Dave. Yeah. Stafford goes to the Rams, and I'm glad we have you on today's show to talk about this, because when we were talking about where was Matthew Stafford going to go, we figured it would be a huge move to some of these line movements, because you're looking like a ready-made Pro Bowl caliber quarterback to a few teams that it seems like are just missing competent play from the quarterback position. I thought it was a wonderful trade for the Rams, who said, I don't give a damn about first-round draft picks. They're not going to have a first-round draft pick over a 7-year period, but they are built to win the Super Bowl, getting Matthew Stafford. A nice line movement there. Talk about some of the odds that went into it, and maybe if they were looking towards another team like the 49ers, or maybe if he was going to go, somewhere in the East on the Washington football team. But it was an interesting move, and I know a lot of books here moved their lines immediately right after Stafford went out west.
Yeah, and it was a very interesting time. What was that, Saturday night? I mean, it was just like, you're just trying to enjoy your Saturday night, and then that hits the news wire. You know what I mean? It was like late at night too, and it's like, you got the late night guy on his shift, and the overnight guy, and the overnight crew is kind of a skeleton crew sometimes, and they're just cleaning stuff up, looking at line movements, etc. They got a little bit of they're building stuff for the next day, etc. And something like that drops late at night when the overnight guys and on duty, and he has a quick scramble, so you start getting hit right away, and you're like, what the hell happened? And that's what happened. A big blockbuster trade. Yeah, Rams went from 20-1 all the way down to 10-1 here at BetOnline. Wow. Yeah, Lions from what Lions? The Lions were like 80-1 to 150-1, I believe. So yeah, it was interesting, man. It's going to be an exciting, and it's there's going to be a lot of that over the next couple months, right? Or with all these quarterbacks changing hands, it's going to be like that. So, if you're a bettor out there, and that's the thing, but with Twitter now, the bettors can get that information as faster than we do, So it's like, if you're paying attention to that stuff, don't miss out. I mean, last year's a perfect example with Brady. The rumors are going to Tampa Bay, and people were piling in on a 50-1, then down to 33-1. Then when it happened at 25-1, etc. So get your information and bet early. That's the thing. A lot of people, especially during politics, everything. Oh, why would I lock my money up for 4 years or a year or whatever? I always hear that when I post like future odds. Some wise guy always say, why would I lock my money up for a year? Well, that might be the case for most stuff, but if you can get 33-1 on Tom Brady going to the Buccaneers, lock that money up. I mean, if you're living paycheck to paycheck, don't do it. But if you have a little bit of money in the bank or in your account, 10, 20, $50, well, why not? Would you lock up the value? Or 8 years ago, Trump at 75-1 or 100-1, or Biden at 66-1, 4 years ago. I mean, that's just great value. Again, if you're living paycheck to paycheck, don't lock money up. But if you have a nice little nest egg there, put a few bucks on it, and you get some great value.
I love that. And they always say scared money doesn't make money. And what's better than
no risk it, no biscuit, Kyle?
Right? Yeah. And has that ever happened to you where you forgot you made a bet on something, and you go up and you're like, holy crap, I have this open ticket, it's 800-1, and it's gonna happen. I can't, So I think that's great advice. And of course, you want little Timmy to have a sandwich. So don't go spending the mortgage on it to be stupid and lock it up, as Dave says. Only if you
don't spend the mortgage, Kyle. Only the rent. That's the goal.
So that's it. Yeah, don't spend the mortgage, just the rent, and that's absolutely fine. So speaking of the Stafford trade, just to touch on it a little bit, and you just mentioned the odds. So I mean, they just from 20 to 1 to 10 to 1. That shows how much, you guys value Matthew Stafford over Jared Goff and maybe what the NFL does. Do you think it was, I mean, it seems like a huge haul. And there's another quarterback out there in Houston in Deshaun Watson who, is rumored to be traded. So when you're looking around and you see Matthew Stafford, 2 first-round picks, and essentially Donnie mentioned it, they're not going to have a first-round draft pick in 7 years. Your last first-round draft pick you just included in this trade, which is Jared Goff. So it seems like a steep haul, but you're talking from 20 to 1 to 10 to 1. Do you think the price was right for Matthew Stafford, or did the Rams overpay a little bit for Stafford?
It seems like a lot, but so I love the draft, man. I'm a draft nut, but sometimes I just look at the back of these drafts from 10 years ago, and you're like, who the hell are half of these guys, or at least half?
Yeah.
I did that the other day. I forget what draft it was. It's probably from
probably looking at Marcus Smith.
Yeah. I forget. Yeah, well, the Eagles, right? Yeah, exactly. Eagles, we can trade first and second rounds for the next 10 years for anybody. So. and writes to Harry Roseman, right? But so I mean, it's a lot to give up. You got to build your team through the draft, but win it now. They got that defense. They're built to win now. So what the hell? Go for it and let the rest pan out over the next few years.
Yeah, I actually agree. I think you win one Super Bowl, or even just get even close, just get to it and don't even win it. It's worth it because you're not getting there with Jared Goff. I mean, we all saw the results there. So you just mentioned this is a crazy week, right? Standalone game. It's the Super Bowl. You don't just have all the amazing props and crazy props and different props and all the promotions. But now we also, unfortunately, everyone's least favorite thing to talk about, COVID. Are you guys worried? How closely are you guys watching it? I mean, I would be surprised if a marquee player showed up on that list, but you never know. How worried are you guys on that? How closely are you watching it throughout the week?
I think we're watching it closely. We're all on our Twitter feeds, and it'll pop up on screen if anything happens. Doesn't mean that, again, it's 2021. There's information out there for everybody. So it doesn't mean we can't get beeped to the punch for by a few seconds. But it's just how it is this last year. Our guys are on top of it. It's just the nature of the beast over the last year. It would. We'd be more worried about, a big player going down and maybe not as many people betting on the game or whatever. I mean, if some big player goes down or whatever, and the news is out there, and we get beat on a few bets or whatever, no big deal. But it's just status quo for the last year. So whatever, bring it on. Cross our fingers and bring it on.
You probably got some good practice with that, too, because when you take a look at COVID in the Super Bowl, because obviously the ones that we're looking at, or if Tom Brady gets it, or obviously if Patrick Mahomes gets it, but you sort of had that opening line where you had to post a line saying, dude, we don't even know if Patrick Mahomes is actually going to be playing in the Buffalo Bills game in the past couple of weeks. So you guys, I know, will be ready for that stuff. Here's the interesting part. Now, we love having you on for this. Most of the time in the Super Bowl, you get a lot of novice bettors, and that's not a slight on anybody where, hey, we're going to a party, somebody's sitting down, and, the father, hey, can I get $100 on the Chiefs in this game? Most people like to bet the favorites. Most people like to bet overs in this one. From your side early on, and we know how much it ramps up through late in the week when everybody's locked in, injury reports come out. Early indicators here for you, Dave. Are we heading again for most people on the over, most people on the favorite, or what type of action are you seeing here with Betonline?
No, exactly. I mean, it's big too. 67% of the early money's on the Chiefs -3, which is currently -$1.21. 69% is on the over. 56. We did see some sharp action on the opposite sides of those. We saw some sharp action on the Buccaneers at +3.5 when it was there for a few minutes, and under 57 and under 56.5. So, there's so many moving parts with all this stuff. Then you incorporate the money line. The actions. The money's pretty even. 52% of the money is on the Chiefs. But when you factor in that 48% is getting paid +148, then we will need the Chiefs outright. Plus, we need the Chiefs outright with the Super Bowl futures. So, the ideal scenario for the book will be Chiefs winning by 1 or 2 points and a nice low scoring affair. So that would be scoop everything.
That's interesting. I'm glad you touched on that, because I get asked this question a ton. When people see, an uneven ticket split, say, 70% of the money's on the Chiefs, 30's on Tampa Bay, but the line's not moving. people are trying to understand why. Can you maybe explain that to people why, even though it seems like more of the tickets are coming in on someone? I think the answer is pretty obvious, but I do get asked it a lot from your perspective, and why the line doesn't move a lot when people see those numbers. It sort of confuses them and makes them think, oh, the fix is in or something weird like that. What's the real process that goes behind that?
Well, everybody always thinks, and when I started this industry too, that sports books just put the line out there and then the lines to get 50-50 action, and we're just scooping the juice with our, we're sitting back with our feet up on the table, scooping the juice, and that there's nothing that's a fairy tale. That's not happening, man.
Right.
That's just not happening.
Yeah.
So what moves those odds more than anything? I'm not going to say public action doesn't move the odds, but the sharp action moves it more than anything. Like I said, the Buccaneers are plus 3.5. The sharps took it, so we go down to 3, and we'll take that those Chiefs bets on -3. The over under. Even though people are betting the over, we had it at 57, 56.5, and we moved it down to 56. We're going to take that sharp intel. Now, does that mean we're going to win? No. Over the long haul, it's going to maximize our profits without a doubt. Now, this is the Super Bowl, so it's not really a week 1 or 2 game. We'll take those positions all day long early on the season because, well, guess what? If we get murdered week 1, all that means is all those people got a ton of money for week 2. If we get murdered for week 2, like we did, if we get murdered week 2, like we did this season, it was the most profitable day in the history of Betonline for bettors. It was week 2 NFL this year. Well, guess what? Week 3's action, that Monday night football game is going to have record action. That Thursday night week 3 football game is have record action. So is that weekend action. So there's that. When that happens during the season, it's okay. We got our tails kicked in. Guess what? Next week is going to be great. We're going to have more bettors on the site than ever. The people got money, the casino managers, the happiest guy in the business. Now with the Super Bowl, it's a little different because, football is obviously king here at BetOnline, and, our U.S. North American competitors. Nothing comes close to football. And of course, Super Bowl is the biggest day, but it's also the last day, right? So what happens Monday, unfortunately, a lot of bettors disappear. Some will come back for March Madness, not a lot, but a sizable portion. Some will come back for March Madness, but some you won't see again until next September. So if you lose that Sunday, you're not getting it back the final week for those guys that do disappear. So you might. The sports book can handle the odds a little bit differently, so that's why I could go back to up to plus 3.5. If this was a regular season game, it's not going to plus 3.5. We got our intel that sharps are taking plus 3.5. We'll take our side and we'll play. We'll whatever. But Super Bowl, it could go back up to plus 3.5, get some buyback. But we don't want to open the doors to sharp action either. We don't want to get that 50-50 action if half that action is going to sharps. No, we don't want to do that. We'll take a side and let it go.
I love that. And so basically, I knew there was a week where I did really well. You're right. It must have been week 2. That must have been the week that I gave everyone the great advice here on the show. I'm pretty sure that tape's deleted, so that's fine. And to basically summarize that up, he's saying once Donnie starts putting his money down, if you get a line move that you don't like that went against you, you can blame Donnie. He's probably
that's why New Jersey's banned from BetOnline because
there you go. Exactly. Right? Tired of Donnie's nonsense. I get it. I totally forget. So that's who you blame, folks. Get him there. But no, so Super Bowl 55. I mean, it's a huge event. There's going to be a few fans there. This is probably going to be the most watched Super Bowl on, you assume, without fans being there. You got Brady, Mahomes. It won't shock me if this breaks records. But the best thing about the Super Bowl is prop betting. People prop bet the hell out of this game. Every site, DFS, DraftKings, Book, there's all these crazy specials and props. What do we have going on prop-wise at BetOnline? What are your favorites?
I love it.
And because I got to know what your favorites are. I've got a few favorites. They absolutely crack me up, some of these props. And what are your favorites, and what kind of stuff you have going on at BetOnline? Some special props for the Super Bowl because it's a huge deal this time of year.
Yeah, well, we always have a good team of creative minds, and we love that we put a lot of thought, and we some books don't like all the creative props; they stay away from them. But some books love them, and we love them, man. We got a really good team of people who just kind of come up with wacky stuff. I mean, I'm the inventor of the cleavage prop, so that's always been my baby for the last 8 years or so. So, Jasmine Sullivan, she's singing the national anthem. Will she show cleavage during the anthem? Yes is currently minus 165, and the no is plus 125. We actually saw some sharp cleavage action, believe it or not. Yes, at plus 110. These sharp sickos, man. They'll bet on cleavage. It's great, dude. So cleavage is that's my baby, man. I'm so proud of that because I thought of that like 8 years ago. I was just watching. I think if Beyonce was doing the national or the halftime show, and I was just watching YouTube videos or trying to come up the normal. Will she have a headset? She might have a mic? What color will dress be? And then I was like, you know what? Something's popping off the screen here. Something's popping off the screen here. We need a cleavage part. Sometimes she has cleavage, sometimes she's not. So I came up with that, and it just went everywhere, went viral. So I'm gonna kill that dead horse every year until I'm done working in this industry. So yeah, the cleavage prop is a good one. Will Miley Cyrus show side boob be seen? That's a good one. I like the Arians Reed one. I thought about this one last week. The masks are a big thing this year, and whose nostrils will be exposed first. So, Bruce Arians or Andy Reid. I mean, Andy Reid, I think he had that mask drilled into his head last week. That thing wasn't budging. So, now, I don't know. I think they nailed that damn thing in his skull. So, Arians is the minus 200 favorite. But, man, there's so much stuff on that site, and I can't even keep track of it.
It's great stuff because even the one with the woman referee, will she have a ponytail or a bun? I mean, I want to see the sharp action coming in on stuff like that. That would be quite impressive. But there are so many really good ones because all throughout the season, we get the normal stuff. First carry over 3.5 yards, will so-and-so throw in interceptions. But it's fun to actually sit back because even if you're in like a party atmosphere, which, hopefully people are doing that safely and, separated. But we used to just have, way back, even in college, like a printed sheet of Dave, like 5 or 6 list of prop bets. You'd all throw $100 in, and everybody would pick them at the end of the night. You'd see who won the most amount of it. Prop bets singularly, keep a lot of things going here. But there's somebody in the chat box also, Dave. We love to have you on. Don't want to take up too much of your time during Super Bowl week. But Lauren Williams says, does BetOnline.ag have a sign-up bonus? So Dave, let us know what's going on here for the Super Bowl with BetOnline.ag.
Absolutely. Head on over to BetOnline.ag. We have all sorts of bonuses for you, Lauren. And everybody else, hit up our promotions page. 100% first-time bonus for crypto users. If you're into crypto, promo code is crypto100. If you're not into crypto, wake up. For other methods, 50% welcome bonus. The promo code is BOL1000. That's for 50%. The maximum bonus on each is $1,000. Once again, betonline.ag/promotions for all the details.
There we go. Dave Mason, betonline.ag, the most busy week of the season. Thank you for spending a couple of minutes with both myself and Kyle here at sportsbooker.com. Good luck on the Super Bowl, and thanks again for joining us today, Dave.
Thanks, fellas. Have a good one.